two people calling, Dan and Itto, calling from Arkansas. What's up?
Hello.
Hello. Do we got two people on this call?
Yeah. Itto, you there?
All right, maybe just one person on this call. Well, it's another Dan. So hello, Dan. Nice to talk to you.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, so I currently am in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Not the best place to be an atheist, but
True that. I've been to Fayetteville. Yeah. It's quite a place. Let me tell you, man. U of A, right? University of Arkansas. Oh my goodness, I've never seen so many frat buildings in my life. It is just party city over there.
Yeah. I mean, today I was working and I had to tell a lady that I would pray for her, and it was pretty sickening, actually.
Whoa, wait. Oh, wait. I know you're calling about something else, but why did you have to pray for her?
I'm currently working a census job, and she was pretty broken up about losing her husband, and but yeah, she I can't say too much about it because
I gotcha.
I
gotcha. But that's interesting. I've never heard of an atheist being put in a position like. Well, I mean, obviously, sometimes we're asked to like be in a group prayer or something, but to be asked specifically to pray for somebody, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, and you know, we are trying to like build a network out here. The other person I had on the line was actually someone that I became friends with after you posted a link to her channel, actually, from this show.
Yes, and so just to kind of give a background information of you, I actually knew that at least one of you guys was going to call in this week because a few weeks ago, we had an awesome caller that told us about the intersection between atheism and disabilities. And I was like, wow, that sounds really awesome. Like, let's get a link to your channel out here. And there was kind of a follow-up after that. So maybe you can go ahead and explain what that follow-up is, Dan.
Oh, yeah. This is a person who they're working on activism for people with disabilities who are atheists. Because, I mean, this is a group that is pretty, like, heavily exploited. Yeah, to say the least. And sorry, I'm pretty nervous.
You're all good.
Yeah.
We're all friends here. Nothing to be nervous about.
Yeah.
So yeah, from what I recall from the email, somebody was doing some more work within this community and stuff, and you guys just kind of wanted to share some like updates on what had happened since the last time that we called, right? Or that you guys called.
Yeah. I just got some outreach from this person. From her name's Itto. She called probably like 3-4 weeks ago, and yeah, she's just she got her YouTube channel growing, and she's just really trying to push for activism here, and yeah.
So I guess because I guess Itto isn't on the call, but maybe you could explain again for people who like aren't familiar with this, like what is the intersection with atheism in the disabilities community? Why would somebody be interested in talking about those things?
Well, for myself particularly, I have like mental health things. I'm bipolar, so it's kind of a different perspective to where I've been sort of exploited by people for a need to be like kind of impulsive. Like once I became a Mormon, actually, when I first moved out here to Arkansas, and that's a pretty interesting story. But that lasted about 2 months, and let's see, after that happened, after I converted to Mormonism, to which I never really was a sincere Mormon, but I tried to believe. And after I actually was baptized, they they pretty much had moved on to who knows, like the next person after that. So, but yeah, as far as her experience as a blind person who is an asylee, I think that she's in a demographic that definitely gets approached by people. I mean, I can't say too much for her, you know, on behalf of her. But,
Sure.
So yeah, this is her demographic. She's more obviously externally disabled than I am, and
Yeah.
so yeah, that's kind of what she's doing. I personally just found the channel, and hey, turned out to be in the same area. So
Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, you guys have met up since then after watching the channel. After we plugged it on the show and stuff, which is really cool. I'm really glad that you guys made that connection. But yeah, like to your point, and I want to say this, like I think people don't realize just the narratives that go on in some Christian communities about disabilities, because it is kind of more on the fringe side for the most part, but like it's very insidious, I think. Like one, there's this idea that your disabilities are like because there's some sort of character flaw, you know, like literally because you sinned. Like that sounds really old fashioned, but like that still exists, and that's still a thing that like millions of people believe, whether inside or outside the United States, right? Like, oh, you had this bad thing happen to you. You're blind, you're deaf, you're whatever, because your soul is somehow impure, or you've committed some sort of sin. Maybe if you're in, another type of faith, it's because of something you did in a previous life. Like these are legitimate things that people believe. And not only that, but use it to create a hierarchy of discrimination. Because the idea is, oh, well, you have this thing because there's something wrong with you. Therefore, I can judge you in a certain way because of it, right? Another thing that happens that you see too is like these people who will straight up go up and try to pray for you because they see you're in a wheelchair, or you have some sort of aid or something, and like I don't know what goes through those people's minds. I don't know if they think it's just by laying hands on you that you just might be healed right then and there. But it is kind of presumptuous and also just unwarranted. It's like I would not want people just randomly touching me off the street and praying over me. But I've heard stories of that from people that I've known who have wheelchairs or who have these disabilities, and it's awful, and it's also like it's dehumanizing in some way, I think.
And I was in a depressive stage once, and I had some Mormon elders once like lay hands on me to try and help me with that, and obviously, I mean, nothing happened, and it felt weird. Like the entire time, I was like, this is not doing anything.
Yeah, let's be honest, like it nothing happens from that. And the worst thing too is when you have a mental illness, that gets even worse sometimes, because sometimes people will say that's because you got like demons in you or something, or it's because you're living a life of sin. Like again, it goes back to this idea of like this is your fault somehow. Because why would a just and loving God just randomly distribute disabilities amongst the human population? Like it kind of doesn't work in that sense, but it does make sense if you deserved it somehow. But I mean, that's just not how we view the world, right? There's no one divine entity kind of doling out these difficulties people have to deal with. It's just the way it is sometimes, and we learn to love and live and grow together as a community, or we can just pretend and believe in these silly power dynamics that are happening. It's awful. And the worst is when they tell you not to take your medication either, because you need
in there.
I know people from Waco who have been told that from church elders, and that's just really scary to me. Really, really scary. Please take your medication that's prescribed to you from your doctor, and do what you got to do if that's your case. But I
actually had some experience in like 12-step groups, and the guy that was sponsoring me told me to get off my medication, and I later learned that this is a real problem in these groups, and they actually printed a pamphlet encouraging people not to play doctor because there's really bad things, like people killing themselves. And it's like, as soon as I found that out, I was just like disgusted. And I was like, I don't want anything to do with these people anymore.
Oh yeah, and now you're seeing the anti-vax community do the same thing of just not trusting medical experts. Like they tend to run in the same circles as some of these other things that we're talking about. So yeah, it's all kind of this Venn diagram of awfulness. But I'm glad you found your way out, Dan. I'm glad that you're here talking to us on this show. I really appreciate it. I want to know audibly if you had any stories about kind of the stuff that we're talking about here that's related.
Yes. I can speak more to the. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Otto. Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, no. Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry. I more can speak to the mental health aspects of the conversation because, first of all, personally, I went through a long time of having cycles of depression and anxiety. I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder in early adulthood, about 18. And, I believed those things about myself. I believed that I was being oppressed by demons, and I was reluctant to get professional medical help. And I would kind of tend towards going to the church for help because I just thought I needed to pray more. I needed to rely on God more. And it wasn't until I actually saw a licensed psychologist. So just so everybody knows, not everybody who's a therapist or a counselor is a licensed psychologist. And there's different modes of psychology, different modes of talk therapy. So if you're thinking about going to therapy, do a lot of research and, don't trust that everybody is who they say they are. Make sure that it's somebody who's credentialed for the sort of thing that you need help with. And who specializes in the kind of condition that you need help with, because it's not a one-size-fits-all thing. And if therapy doesn't work with you with one type of therapist, I urge you to continue trying different modes of therapy, different therapists, because I would hate for somebody to see a therapist, try it, and think it's just not working and give up, because I think that there really is help out there. There's so much research being done. We're getting so much better at this stuff in the information age. And, I'm really sorry for the people who believe those things about themselves that maybe they're bad or there's something wrong with them, because really it's just like it's not just like breaking your leg, but I mean, as an analogy, if you were to break your leg, no one would say that you should have tried to be less clumsy and, that you should pray. They would tell you that you should, go to the doctor and get help. And
they shouldn't say that, but
your brain, how much more?
Yeah. I was just going to say, there's definitely people that would say that, but yeah, you're totally right. They shouldn't say that.
Yes. Well, I would say it's a lot more common that someone would say that you would get help for your leg, it's an extreme minority who would say you shouldn't even go to the doctor for your leg. But you're right. I don't want to overgeneralize there.
If anything, I think it's a little more insidious that a lot of religious people are now embracing that you can have these mental illnesses and stuff like that, because it gives them more credibility. I almost think it's better if they were to just be out with it like they were before, to be honest.
That's an interesting take. I don't know. I'm glad that we're slowly living in a culture where people are being more honest about their mental illness. I think that's true. But I also see that the people who are being more honest about their mental illness are people who are generally more vulnerable in society. And so the ones who, I don't know, who are kind of stronger, especially on the Christian right, who are kind of in denial about a lot of this stuff, they're not going to be the first ones to admit it, even though those are the communities that should be the first ones to admit it, because that's where you see a lot of these dysfunctions and problems happening, right? So yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I'm glad that you called into the show, and I'm glad that you're able to tell that story about you guys meeting after, the episode of Truth Wanted aired. That's really cool. Sorry we couldn't get her on the phone tonight, but thanks again, Dan, for at least for you calling me and I hope to hear from you guys soon. So thanks.
All right. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, and one more thing on that too. If you are interested in seeing a therapist for whatever problems you have, look, just try to keep in mind too that just like what we were talking about with street epistemology, you're not going to be able to solve all the things you want to solve with one session. That's something you typically have to work at. Because I've been there. I've seen them once or twice, and it's always like at first it's like, what was the point of that? But especially now where we have to be more careful about our mental health than ever. If you feel like you need help, go seek it, go do it. But don't call me. I'm not a licensed professional. I'm just a call show host. So, definitely find somebody who can handle that stuff.